Boris Johnson's expected to reveal late tonight which way he'll be campaigning in the run-up to the EU referendum in June. David Cameron set out his case for staying in, but 6 ministers, including his ally Michael Gove, have announced they'll campaign for the UK to leave. Boris's support will be a huge boost to either campaign and could well be a defining moment in his political career as well. No wonder he's taking his time.
Both camps are now turning their attention to how to woo different groups of voters. According to a recent poll, support for the EU is strong amongst 18 to 24-year-olds, with 3/4 suggesting they'd vote to stay in. But the Out campaign has come up with increasingly novel ways to ignite the debate, including branded condoms on campus, although there's some debate about whether they're best suited for the In or the Out campaign.
Stop it. Marcel Apoku-Owosu is from the Students for Europe, which is backing staying in the EU, and Tom Harwood is chair of Students for Britain, which supports an EU exit. Morning, both of you.
Morning.
Morning.
Tom, let me start with you. So 3/4 of 18 to 24-year-olds want to stay in. You've got an uphill struggle, haven't you?
Well, I think that figure could be slightly misleading, actually, because basically what we found is most students aren't very interested in the EU, surprisingly. Most students don't really understand what the EU does, which is a massive fault of education in this country. And so what we're really trying to do is argue across what the EU does, how it holds back Britain from engaging with the rest of the world, and really stopping the fear-mongering that's coming from Students for Europe, explaining that, for example, the Erasmus programme is open to more countries than just the EU.
Marcel, fear-mongering's what you're doing, says Tom.
To a certain degree, I can see what he means, but it's because we are trying to keep up with the status quo, so to speak. So it's easy to see when you are arguing for change, like the Out campaign is. It's easy to say, oh, the other side is fear-mongering, but we're not. We're just saying these are the benefits that you get from EU membership, like the Erasmus programme, like the
They're not exclusive to EU membership, though, Marcel.
Yeah, but you still have to pay in to be able to. So what kind of membership would you like us to have?
Well, we'd like a friendly, open, free trade deal with the rest of Europe, like lots of other countries have.
Right, so you don't want... so do you want a Norway model or a Switzerland model?
Look, we want a British model. We want free trade with Europe, but also, crucially, be allowed to make our own free trade deals with the rest of the world.
We've already got free trades with 50 other countries, and that's the other
We're not allowed to make them independently. We don't have free trade with America or China or Brazil or America or Australia.
Let Marcel finish the point.
Sure, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
There's many countries that don't have free trade deals with America. The reason that we haven't got a free trade deal with the United States is because it's not in our interest at the moment. We are trying to do one at the moment with TTIP. Switzerland does have a free trade deal with China, but all the analysis shows that it's not in Switzerland's favour. The free trade deal says that China gets to have access to Switzerland, but Switzerland doesn't to China.
I just want to make the point here, both of you, that Tom, you started off by saying, look, a lot of students aren't engaged, they're not excited by the EU. Now, the conversation the two of you've been having about small details about free trade agreements and actually, I know that Newsbeat, which of course provides the news on BBC Radio 1 and is engages millions of 18 to 24-year-olds across the country, did a poll and found out that 75% of Newsbeat listeners didn't know what a referendum was. So actually, without, you don't want to patronise, but at the same time, if you're getting into kind of minute details, is this going to engage the people you want to talk to? And let me ask you that, Marcel, first of all.
No, probably not. But this is why we need to store the other benefits, like the free movement of people, and the fact that when you graduate, you are able to not only have a job here, but you can look for a job in one of the other 27 EU member states without having to go through the process of getting visas. And that's the other thing. We can travel freely across Europe without having to get visas and all that kind of stuff.
Is it fair to assume that a lot of students don't have the same concerns that people who are older and perhaps in work and are concerned of things about like school places and the state of the NHS and whether jobs are available? Because you're at a completely different stage in your life, aren't you? Marcel?
To me, yes, certainly, of course. But this agreement, this referendum, is going to decide our future. So we need to make sure that us and other young people are interested in it. And you can see the furore that happened when 16 to 17-year-olds were denied the vote in this referendum. A lot of them wanted to be engaged and are engaged with the debate, but they can't vote on it, unlike in the Scottish referendum.
And Tom, condoms, are they the way? Are they the way? I mean, this is the headline that's coming out of everything to do with the student campaigns.
Yeah.
Are you just looking for ways to get people talking?
Absolutely, and this is one of the more innovative campaign materials that we've come up with. We've also got beer mats, and it's just to start the conversation. Because once you start the conversation, people are interested. People are concerned that we're sending £350 million a week over to Brussels. That's £20 billion a year. That could abolish tuition fees twice over. That could build a new hospital every single week. Cost is an argument that transcends generation. And it's not just cost, it's democracy, that 28 unelected people are making laws that affect our lives. And of course the issue of trade, whether we want to be a regional player or a global player. And I think more people are engaged with Britain standing on its own 2 feet on the world stage rather than just limiting ourselves to one stagnant continent.
Okay, Marcel Apoku Owosu and Tom Harwood, thank you.